Hello my dear students. Today in this lecture I will discuss about the probability sampling technique. First of all, sampling is the process of selecting a representative part of the population. For example, we have to conduct a study on the biophysical profile of the nursing students. So it is difficult for us to take the sample from all the nursing students in the Punjab. So a representative part is selected, means some portion of that population is taken as a sample of the study which represent the entire population, which represent the entire BSc nursing students. So that is known as sampling. So there are two techniques of sampling: probability sampling technique and non-probability sampling technique. But in this video I will only discuss about the probability sampling technique. First of all, its definition: it involves the random selection of the members or the elements of the population. Means in the probability sampling technique, indiscriminate selection, unbiased selection of the members should be done. So with the help of this technique, each and every subject in the population has an equal chance to be selected as a study sample. Next are the types of probability sampling technique. There are 5 types under probability sampling technique. First one is simple random sampling technique, stratified random sampling. Third one is systematic random sampling. Fourth one is cluster or multi-stage sampling. And fifth one is sequential sampling. I will discuss one by one in detail. First one is simple random sampling technique. This is one of the pure and the basic probability sampling technique. In this type of sampling design, every population member has a similar or equal chance of being selected or picked as the subject. The essential requirements for doing simple random sampling technique is population must be homogeneous. For example, the study is conducted on the diabetes patient. Then the population is homogeneous. On the other hand side, if the study is conducted on the incidence of lung cancer among smokers and non-smokers, so the population is heterogeneous because the population member has both smokers and non-smokers. So the population must be homogeneous. Next is sampling frame. This is a sampling frame which contains the information of all the population members from which the sample is taken for the study. Next is the methods used. First one is the lottery method. In this, first of all, the researcher must have a sampling frame, that is the up-to-date information of all the population members. Then make the chits of the names or either the numbers which are allotted to each and every particular member of the population. Then place these chits inside the ball or inside the hat and then blended it, means mix it. And after that, the researcher blindfoldedly, means by tying a piece of cloth over the eyes so as to cover the eyes, pick the chits from the ball one by one and until the desired number of sample is attained. So this is one method of simple random sampling technique. Second one is the use of table of random numbers. So this is a random numbers table, again blindfoldedly. So again in this, first of all the researcher have the sampling frame. Then the particular number which is allotted to the particular member of the population is written here in the random numbers table. And then researcher have to tie the piece of cloth over the eyes so as to cover the eyes and pick the number one by one. Next is the use of computer. So if the members of population is smaller, then in that case lottery method and the use of table of random numbers is applicable. But if the population size is very large, in that case the random numbers table is made with the help of computer. Next are the advantages and disadvantages of simple random sampling technique. It is easy to conduct. Next is fair and unbiased, as each and every member has an equal chance to be selected. Free of sampling errors. So there are less chances of sampling errors in this case. Next is disadvantages. It is expensive plus time consuming, and it needs complete and up-to-date list of the members of the population. If the members are missing from the sampling frame, that will also leads to sampling error. Next type is stratified random sampling technique. In this, the population is heterogeneous. First of all, its definition: it is a probability sampling technique wherein the researcher divides the entire population into different homogeneous subgroups or strata and then randomly selects the final subject from the different stratas. So I already give an example of heterogeneous group in which the researcher conducts the study to check the incidence rate of lung cancer among the smokers and non-smokers. So this is a whole population. This is a heterogeneous population which contains smoker as well as non-smokers. So according to this type, first of all, the population is divided into homogeneous groups, that is smokers and non-smokers. So these are two homogeneous groups from which the final subjects are selected. The strata are divided according to the selected traits of the population such as age, religion, socio-economic status, diagnosis, education, etc. Next are the types of stratified random sampling. First one is proportionate and second one is disproportionate. In the first type, the sampling fraction is same sampling fraction is applied over all the homogeneous subgroups or the stratas, and in the disproportionate, the different sampling fraction is applied over the different homogeneous groups. As you can see, these are the different homogeneous groups, and this is a population size which is different in all the homogeneous subgroups, and in this the sampling fraction is same over all the homogeneous subgroups, as the half of the 100 is 50, half of the 200 is 100, half of the 300 is 150, while in disproportionate type the different sampling fraction is applied. 1/2, that is half of the 100 is 50, and 1/4 of the 200 is 50, and 1/6 of the 300 is 50. So these are two types. Next are the advantages and disadvantages. First advantage is comparison between the two groups is possible, as I already give you the example of smokers and non-smokers to check the incidence rate of lung cancer among the smokers and non-smokers. So in this type, the comparison is possible between the smokers and non-smokers, that while the smokers have the high incidence of lung cancer or the non-smokers have. Next is statistical precision, means the measurements with this probability sampling technique is close to accuracy. Next is it saves time, money and efforts. Next is disadvantages. It needs accurate information on the proportion of population, means accurate proportion of the population size of each homogeneous subgroups. Next is possibility of faulty classification. That's all about the stratified random sampling technique. Third one is systematic random sampling. In this, every K member from the population is selected as a sample for the study. K is equal to number of subjects in the target population over the size of sample. For example, the researcher is conducting the study on the diabetic patients from the particular area, and the researcher finds total 500 target population or the 500 diabetic patients, but the researcher only wants the 100 subjects for the study. In that case, the number of subjects in the target population will be 100 and the size of sample is the number of subjects in the target population is 500 and the size of sample is 100. So K is equal to 5, means every fifth member from the sampling frame should be taken as a sample for the study. First, its advantages: it is simple and convenient to use, less time consuming and cheaper, statistically more efficient and less difficult. On the other hand side, its disadvantages: sometimes result is biased. How the result is biased? If the first member from the sampling frame is selected non-randomly, then the results may be biased. And if faulty sampling frame, for example, the sampling frame is not made randomly, means the sampling frame is made discriminately, that will also leads to biasness, or that will also leads to less accurate representation of the population. Next type is cluster or multi-stage sampling. This method is basically used when the population elements or the members of the population are scattered or spread over a wide area. For example, the researcher conducts the study on all over the country or on all over the world, and it is impossible for the researcher to obtain the list of all the elements. For example, study to assess the academic performance of Indian high school students. So in this, the researcher collects the sample from all over the country. In this, population is divided into clusters. Example, on the basis of cities or on the basis of states. And if the researcher collects the sample from all the members of the population from these clusters, that is known as one stage cluster sample. But if the researcher wants to take a small part of that population, in that case the researcher, with the help of simple or systematic random sampling technique, select the clusters from these divided clusters. That is stage 1. And from these selected clusters, the researcher, with the help of simple and systematic random sampling technique, select the members for the research. Or that is stage 2. Or the researcher might included all the members from these selected clusters. That is known as two-stage cluster sample. Third one is multi-stage cluster sample. When the sampling is done in more than 2 stages, that is known as multi-stage cluster sample. Next is probability proportion to size cluster sampling. In this, when the clusters have different population, in one cluster there is a more population and in the second cluster there is a less population available for the study. In that case, there are the risk of overburden or the oversampling or the undersampling. So in that case, this type is used. Next are the advantages of cluster or multi-stage sampling. It is cheap and quick method of sampling. Next is the researcher is able to study the large population. Next is researcher can use the existing divisions, like while dividing into cluster, the population when divide into clusters, they can use the existing division like district, tehsil, states. Next are the disadvantages, the chances of over-representation or under-representation, and the risk of sampling error. So that's all about the fourth type, that is cluster or multi-stage sampling. Next type is sequential sampling. This is last among all the probability sampling technique and even slightly different from all other probability sampling technique. In this, sample is not fixed. The researcher first take the less number of subjects and try to draw the conclusions or try to obtain the results. But if researcher is unable to get the result, then he added more subjects in his or her study and try to get the conclusion. And again, if researcher is not able to get any conclusion, in that case more subjects are added into the study. As you can see in this, the researcher is unable to draw conclusions, but when the subject number is 50, and then researcher is able to draw the conclusion that the incidence of having lung cancer is double in the smokers as compared to the non-smokers. Next are the advantages of sequential sampling. It facilitates to conduct the study on the best possible smallest representative sample. Means the study is conducted on the smallest representative sample and help in ultimately finding the inferences or the conclusion of the study. Next is disadvantages. It requires repeated entries, as the repeated addition of subjects are needed until the desired conclusion is obtained. So that's all about the probability sampling techniques. My dear students, if you have any kind of query regarding this topic, then please ask me in the comment section. I will definitely answer your queries. At last, stay safe, take care of yourself.